Hello and welcome back to Nat Scraps. We are working on day 4 of Christy's Beautiful Life's 30 days of sketches, and I'm still 3-4 days behind, so I do apologize for that. Second thoughts, I am not apologizing because life is just kicking me in the butt and you can only do what you can do. So there we go. I will get there, guys. The sketch is a really cool sketch. I love the 4th day of sketches, and a thank you to all those people that made these sketches because there's such great variety. The very first thing I did was I went through one of my old mixing packs from 12 months ago now, and I started pulling out some colors I thought would go. So I'm trying to use up some papers that are a little bit older and working on that as we go along. You can see the sketch there. It has 3 photos going down. I have flipped this sketch. I want my photos to be portrait rather than landscape, and I'm going to use 3 photos of the Segway trip at Rottnest Island that I went on a while back. So don't be afraid when you get a sketch to flip it, move it, change it to suit you. You don't have to do a sketch exactly to what is there. You can do your sketches so that you use elements of your sketches or one little thing that sparks inspiration. You don't have to do things exactly like you see it. Here I am doing the diagonals that you can see with the papers. I really like this splash of orangey kind of color that I'm bringing in, and I think that picks up a little bit of the sand that's in the background as well as my shirt, and that is why I have brought in the orange paper. The wood grain paper I like because it picks up a little bit again of just the wood that's in those photos on the railing and the tones there, and of course the blue because the blue is in that ocean. So that's where my paper kind of selection and my process with that. I'm bringing the espresso ink, and I'm using that to blend around the edges of all those pieces, but rather than make you watch me rough up the edges and blend, I cut that out for the sake of time and your sanity. So yeah, you can thank me later. I'm looking now as to where I want the photos and how I'm going to have those up, and I also make a decision on that pretty quickly. This did come together, I think the whole process took just a smidge over an hour, which is pretty quick for me because I tend to second guess a lot of my decisions, and in reality I stick to the sketch. Apart from turning it on its side, I stick to the sketch pretty closely. The embellishments that I bring in for this particular layout, I'm using, the majority of them are coming from the stamp sets that we got with the travel retreat bundle that we just had. So I think it's 3 times a year we have album retreats with Close to My Heart, and you get everything for 12 pages, I think it is. I should know my facts, but I think it's 12 pages, and you get all of the bits cut ready for you. There's normally some techniques and bits and pieces, and there's normally a double stamp set, so a stamp set that's got 2 of the 6x6 stamp sheets in it. So that is what I'm using for the majority of this embellishing, and I'm using a range of inks. So I'm sticking pretty closely to the ink colors that I've got in those papers. So I'm using the Sundance, the Espresso, and the Lagoon there. If you haven't had a chance to check out either Christy's Beautiful Life's 30 Days of Sketches or what other people are creating, definitely go and check out the description below. Check out what's going on there. Head over to the Facebook page and you will see some amazing artwork. There are so many talented girls that are posting their takes on these layouts, on these sketches, and it blows my mind when I go and have a look at what people are doing. People are just so amazingly talented. A lot of the embellishments I pop on here is stamping, and I'm trying to bring in elements that are somewhat similar to what is on that sketch, and I think that is why it did go rather quick for this particular layout, because I stuck fairly closely to what was in the sketch. Here you can see I'm using just some of those admit tickets as a little bit of ephemera on the page. I will use that other third one up the top there eventually. This is like a little Polaroid frame, and I first start off by stamping that, I think it was in the Lagoon, and then go back and stamp it a second time in the Espresso. I'm going to cut out the center of that and put a little bit of Lagoon paper behind it, and that gives me something just to lay another embellishment on as we go. So we can see I've got just it down the bottom and this little camera. Now again, all these are part of that album retreat bundle. I've got them sitting there and they are fantastic. I found all of the stamp sets I've got with the album retreats that I've done are just really cute, usable stamps that you want to use time and time again. I did try to hand draw around that camera on the bit that was cut out before, and it just looked messy and it was such fine detail and I couldn't stay in the lines. So the second time around I stamped it and I cut it out so that when I popped the a little dot on there, it's a little glittery gold. I can't talk, guys. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do the voiceover in a rush so I go and do the next day's layout. Everything always seems in a rush at the moment, but I do apologize. And I put the little acrylic dot in there and it's golden glittery on that camera. Now this is where I think I'm going to do Away We Go. That's a little statement in that stamp set. There's Away We Go, and where what's the other ones? I'm just going to open it up and have a little look-see. Here's the story, On Holiday, and I left my heart here. So I could have used 2 or 3 of those really on there. This is another stamp set that I have, and I'm taking this little stamp out of there and making a circle in it. Now, majority of these things I am stamping onto the wood grain that I have left over from making that base. That circle says, "You will never know until you go, adventure awaits." And I will use one in a moment that says "Find Your Wild," and this is adventure badges. I believe it might have been out of the last mini catalogue, but if I figure out where this is out of and if it's in stock, I will leave it in the description for you guys. Here I go a little bit crazy and I'm going to stamp the little hexagon all the way around, and I'm trying to get it in 3 areas, and I figure I'll go in here, and then when I get to the area that has Explore Your World, I'm just going to stamp it off so it's faded, so you can still sort of see there that it goes, the pattern continues, but it's not as bold. I do mis-stamp 1 or 2 of them without doing a second generation stamping, so there's 1 or 2 that are a little bit darker than the others. Oops. I quite like this finished result, and I was looking for something more to build up the clusters that I have there, and this worked really, really well. Again, that stamp is part of that retreat bundle set, and unfortunately that was only available in the retreat. So I'm going to pop that camera down in that corner. I haven't stuck that down yet, but I'm kind of planning for it to be over the bottom of that photo there. And here I'm kind of don't like I've got 2 blue ones down the bottom there, so I do try to change it up a bit, and all I do is end up making a mess and putting a brown one, and then I tried to do something up the top and I stuffed that up too, but we will cover that, and it was probably really good in the end. I'm going to splatter a few stars just around. It's just another sprinkling of something on the page, and then I'm going to figure out how to cover up my messes up the top there. And I will stamp one more stamp. So I'm going to stamp oh no, there'll be 2 or 3 more stamps. So this is an arrow. Again, that's just adding texture and elements to the page. I did get some on my photo and got really annoyed with myself because it made a mess. And there's one more that I'm going to stamp down in the bottom corner, and it's the Find Your Wild. It's from that same set as the one up the top. And you'll notice that I stamp it on blue, and I actually stamp it on the dark side of the lagoon, the blue. And I complete the layout, I hold it up, I do the whole, you know, bit that's going to be slow at the end and everything. And then I stop recording and clean my bench and bits and pieces up, go to take the photo and stuff, and it was just bugging me, the last little bit, that this was so dark and that I didn't have enough of the Sundance or the orange down in this bottom corner where I've put that blue circle. And that really annoys me. So you'll notice in a second, like, this is all stuck down. I go, yep, I'm done. I think I put this last little away we go on. I'll eventually find that spot. Here we go, there we go. And then I'm done, guys, I'm done. But I do go back, a bit of extra blending too before I'm done. See, the things we forget we've done. So I do go back in and darken all that espresso blending around the outside as just a little bit more of a border. And I do the slow down. Then I went off camera and I stamped that exact same stamp, but I did it on the Sundance, or the little bit of orange there. And then I'm going to put it under there, and it just changes completely where your eye wants to rest on the page. It brings that yellow down, so we've got a big piece of yellow on the left, a big slice of yellow on the top. It just brings that yellow down, making that triangle and fixing all that off. And then I am actually done the final time. Let me know if you think that was worth changing, or whether you would have left it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. Always appreciated. Bye.